All right, welcome back to another episode of the Black Bullion Show. All right, guys, some of you were angry at my magical coin tossing skills, but lo and behold, when it landed on heads, saying that we would be trending up starting this week, we were above where we opened this morning at 12 a.m. in gold and silver. So there's that. Though we are starting to trend down right now, but in all seriousness, that was just a joke for fun. There's a lot going on today right now, though, that leads me to stay firmly grounded in my position that we're headed towards a risk-off environment, and that this will boost gold and silver prices. But first, if you're new to this channel, please hit that big red subscribe button right down below. Also, please hit that like button. Helps to get this economic evangelism right on out there to the masses to bring more people into precious metals. Now, if you remember, we've talked a lot about the 10-year yield and the DXY in recent days. The two in tandem have been giving gold and silver a lot of stopping and starting motion recently. However, last week, we were seeing the 10-year yield in the mid to high 0.6s, got up to like about 0.68. But by Thursday of last week, we really began to see that trend come down to where we are now. And today we've gotten as low as the 0.62s. And right now we're kind of up a little bit to 0.634. But this essentially has confirmed the movement into the 10-year, that the sign of a sign that people are starting to become less confident in where things are going in the market, and they're trying to pile into safe havens. Now let's take a look at the DXY. Now the DXY, on the other hand, has been trending up since Wednesday of last week. Last week it got as low as 92.1, but now it's back above 93, as you can see here. Now, in my opinion, if the DXY gets back above 93.2 or 93.3, I think we'll continue to see more sideways behavior with gold and silver. I mean, right now we're starting to see gold and silver retreat from the highs that they hit earlier today because of the strength in the dollar, but we'll get more into that soon. But let's see where gold and silver are right now. So as you can see here, they've tanked from where they were earlier today. So yes, the magic coin flip was right, only to an extent. We're dropping back down. And for gold, it's definitely going down to $91,931. For silver, not as low as the lows it hit today, but still getting kind of low. But in general, we got as high as 1960 today, above 1960 for gold, and for silver we got up to 27.18. And the dollar really started to gain strength around the time of that uptick, to the point where it really knocked down silver and knocked down gold. So again, I do think that if it starts to gain strength in the DXY, we're going to see a lot of continued sideways behavior in gold and silver. Now, one of the reasons why gold and silver sprung up to begin with around that 8:30 time was because of this. The Chicago Fed's National Economic Index, it retreated in July from the record high it set in June, and it set a huge high of 5.33 in June, and then it declined to 1.18 in July. So right around the time we saw gold and silver really spike up around that near that 8:30 time. But also, in addition to gold and silver, the dollar also gained around that time as well. As you can see here, it just starts to trend up pretty much since that point. And FX Empire also has stated that they see the market reaction in the US dollar. It edged slightly higher after the data from the Chicago Fed National Activity Index going down. It basically gained on top of that, and it's pretty much been rising ever since that point. Now, with all of that being said, there's a competition happening right now between the metals and the dollar. And right now, it seems like the dollar is basically getting investor favor. Now, again, I happen to think that this is actually going to be short-lived. People are essentially waiting for a surefire move before deploying their capital. But right now, they're holding on to their capital and waiting for a nice vehicle to give them the most return as possible. Now, part of that wait and see sentiment is likely in anticipation of what we'll be seeing this week. One of them being this: markets look to the Fed again to build on S&P record as Congress continues to disappoint. So let's get into it here. I'm gonna read this quick blurb. And I quote, "I think we know the Fed's all in. If anything, they want the mechanicals to work right," said Ed Keon, chief investment strategist at QMA. "The basic Fed policy is crystal clear. You're going to have low rates for the foreseeable future. They will do whatever it takes. But Fed watchers expect Powell to go further than the Fed's already extraordinary support for the economy and financial conditions, and offer guidance on new language and policies that will help the markets understand how long it might hold those low rates and extraordinary policies in place. For instance, the Fed was expected to provide a more explicit forward guidance policy, and it could also introduce inflation averaging, meaning the Fed could specify that it could both undershoot and overshoot its 2% inflation target. Inflation has only occasionally surpassed its target over the past dozen years since the financial crisis. Michael Gapin, chief U.S. economist at Barclays, said he expects the Fed will introduce forward guidance and average inflation targeting at its September meeting. He expects the Fed's policy review to examine all of its policies to determine which work best in different circumstances. So we'll see how things turn out in Jackson Hole. We also have the RNC this week as well. Now, I'm not sure how that will impact, or if it will impact, gold and silver prices, but we'll see if anything significant happens tonight. I'll be watching prices as it's going on. But everyone, that was your Monday. Let me know what you think about the continued downtrend in the 10-year yield. Does it give you any confidence that gold and silver will gain against it? Or do you really are you really focusing on what's happening right now in the DXY? The dollar is gaining strength right now against gold and silver. So let me know what you guys think about all of this in the comments section below. Thanks again for watching. Please hit that like button. Please subscribe if you're new. It's Black Bullion.